You finish the list, and somehow the list is longer. You get through the week, but you don't feel like you got through anything. There is always something undone, something behind, something waiting. You lie down at night, and your mind runs a quiet inventory. The email you forgot, the conversation you should have had, is a destination that everyone else has successfully reached. Research into self-theory by psychologist Carol Dweck suggests a different origin. Her work on growth orientation shows that people who view themselves as a process rather than a finished product are structurally more susceptible to this feeling. Because they are always in the middle of becoming, they never reach a point where the self feels completed. This architecture of consciousness is designed to scan, compare, and anticipate. For an awake and fully engaged mind, the sense of never being finished is simply the system functioning as intended. In the 1920s, Soviet psychologist Bluma Zygarnik noticed something strange in a cafe. Waiters could remember every detail of an open, unpaid order, but the moment the bill was settled, the information vanished from their minds completely. This revealed the Zygarnik effect. The brain neurologically tags unfinished tasks and keeps them running as active background processes. Like a computer with dozens of open tabs, these loops stay active, constantly draining your cognitive energy. Our daily sense of overwhelm is often the result of this hardware. The brain is hardwired to weaponize memory against us, maintaining a state of tension until a loop is explicitly closed. To understand this tension, we must look at two opposing systems in the brain. When focused on a problem, your task-positive network is running. You're engaged, the noise quiets. But the moment you try to rest, the default mode network powers on. This resting state is surprisingly active. It reviews the past, rehearses the future, and compares your current reality to where you believe you should be. Internal peace is difficult to maintain because the brain's literal resting state is a recalibration engine designed to look for what is missing. Psychologist E. Torrey Higgins called this self-discrepancy, tracking the distance between the actual self, who you are, and the ideal self, who you ought to be. This ideal self is a receding horizon. As you move forward, your expectations move at the exact same pace. This persistent gap creates a low-grade anxiety of incompleteness. No single accomplishment resolves it, because the brain isn't measuring the work you've done, it is measuring distance. And because the horizon moves as you walk toward it, the feeling of being behind is a mathematical certainty of how we view our potential. Since we cannot finish our way to a moving horizon, we have to change how we process the feeling of being incomplete. Principle 1. Close the loops deliberately. You don't have to finish a task to clear the Zygarnik effect. You just have to decide what to do with it. Writing down a clear next action allows the brain to release the loop from active memory. Principle 2. Separate doing from being. William James, the father of American psychology, argued that the self is a process. Naming what you were, patient, curious, or present, builds an identity on something that doesn't require catching up. Principle 3. Shrink the comparison window. Leon Festinger's work shows we instinctively measure ourselves against others, but we can choose a temporal reference point instead. Comparing yourself to who you were yesterday increases motivation, while looking upward at others only increases anxiety. Principle 4. Honor incompletion as information. This table shows how happiness correlates with flow conditions, a state psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi identified as the narrow band where we operate slightly beyond our current capacity. He found that deep meaning requires being perpetually stretched and incomplete. Carrying a sense of being behind is often the friction of operating in that stretch. It is the sensation of living inside a life that means something to you. For those who feel they haven't figured out what everyone else has, try trading the checklist for a compass. A checklist is finished or unfinished. A compass is never done pointing north. Continuous orientation is its entire purpose. You are not built to be completed. You are built to orient. The ultimate goal is alignment, knowing that the direction you're moving reflects something true about who you are. That is a deeper feeling than being done. It is enough.